As customary as it can get, I make a chocolate Ganpati every year for my home. On the Lord's arrival, let's make him happy with his favorite food, the Modak. This is the Bombay chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Rajshri Food. Let's begin. A traditional Modak could be made two ways, the steamed way and the fried way. I'm going to make the steamed version today, which is fondly known as the Ukditse Modak. So let's begin with the first step, which is making the outer cover. For this, I'm going to require 3 cups of water, some salt and ghee. Let's put the flame on and let the water begin to bubble. What is imperative in this recipe is the proportion of water to the flour, and ghee adds to the softness of the dough eventually. It's been 3 minutes now and the water is on a roll boil. Next, what goes in is 3 cups of rice flour. At this point, we need to lower the flame and make sure this nicely mixes together. Mix it nicely and evenly to make sure there are no dry lumps in the mixture. This is mixed and done. I'm going to cover this for 3 to 5 minutes and off goes the flame. While we have a few minutes of waiting time, let's make the filling. For this, I need some ghee. To this, I'm going to add in some grated coconut. Well, if you notice, I've used grated coconut instead of the traditionally scraped coconut just to save some time. The next that goes in is some chopped or grated jaggery. And at this stage, let's put the flame on. All we need to do here is to make sure the jaggery melts and nicely mixes with the coconut. While this mixture has just kind of warmed up, I'm adding in some freshly ground cardamom, which is the green one. And to this, some strands of saffron. Well, this could be optional. Now that this mixture has dried up, off goes the flame, and this has to cool down to room temperature. This dough has been steaming here for 5 to 7 minutes. I'm transferring this into another bowl and let this cool down till it comes to a working temperature. Well, this dough has been resting for 1.5 minutes too, and it's come down to a workable temperature when I can start massaging this into a soft, pliable dough. I need to add in a little bit of more water, and with this, just a tad bit of some ghee. Well, the dough is ready. I'm going to cover this with a damp cloth, and while doing so, pinch a little dough and start working on this so that we can start making the modaks. Well, just to moisten the dough a little, I'm going to keep dabbing my fingers in some cold water. And now, you see this process very carefully. With your 2 thumbs, you're going to press and create an indent in the dough ball. With some more water, you keep pressing this so that this forms like a cup. Once this is ready, in this, I'm going to scoop in a spoonful of the filling, which is now completely at room temperature. With the help of my index finger, I'm going to create these pleats all around the modak, like so. Now very carefully, you pinch the top and get it closer. Press the top, like so, and here you have the first modak which is ready. Well, alternately, you can make the pleats first and then do the filling as well. Very carefully, very neatly, just get all these petals together and pinch them right on top. Now that we have shaped these modaks, let's steam them. Now this step is for all of us who do not have dedicated steamers in our house. So I've taken a pan with a little bit of water, and what goes on top is a sieve. Now traditionally, for steamed modaks or ukuditse modak, we use something called turmeric leaves as a liner because turmeric leaves add their own peculiar taste to the modak. Well, if you do not have turmeric leaves, you can use a banana leaf, or you can also use alternately a butter paper. I'm going to place these carefully without overcrowding the steamer. On goes the lid, and this has to steam under pressure for 10 to 12 minutes. While the modaks here are steaming, let me quickly show you two contemporary fillings. The first one is with gulkand or rose petal jam, for which I'm going to take in some grated coconut, some gulkand, and along with this, some grated khoya. A nice mix, and the filling is ready. Using the same process, let's begin making the modaks with the gulkand filling now. The next filling is for all you chocolate lovers. All you need for this is some grated coconut, some cardamom seeds. Well, you can crush these or you can keep these whole, and some melted dark chocolate. A nice and even mix, and your chocolate filling is ready. I'm going to make modaks exactly the way we made earlier. Now that we've seen the two contemporary fillings, let's turn back to the traditional one, which has been steaming here for some minutes. Off goes the flame, and carefully I'm going to lift these and place it in a plate. And finally, let's drop in a few splashes of molten ghee. Now that these are ready, let's steam the other modaks similarly. And finally, for my friend Ganesha. We've made two contemporary fillings along with the traditional ukuditse modak. Do make this for your family and friends on this pious occasion of Ganesh Utsav. And like we all say, Ganpati Bappa Morya!
Rava Laddus are always a part of these celebrations. So let's see how to make these divine laddus. To begin with, you need about 340 grams or 2 cups of fine grained semolina and about 1 cup, which is about 100 grams of freshly grated coconut. And the next step is to mix the semolina and the coconut together And this way, all the moisture from the coconut seeps into the semolina, making it nice and plump. I have already mixed the semolina and the coconut together and kept it aside for about 30 minutes. And the next step is to heat some ghee. I'm going to put in 100 grams, which is about half a cup of ghee. And allow this to melt over medium heat. Once the ghee melts and turns into this beautiful golden liquid, I'm going to turn down the heat and put in the semolina and coconut mixture. This needs to roast until the semolina turns golden and plump, and this should take about 15 to 20 minutes. You need to make sure that the semolina doesn't brown and blacken by stirring this continuously. It's been about 20 minutes. The semolina has acquired a beautiful golden color. I'm going to turn off the heat and transfer these contents to a bowl. I'm going to allow this to cool down a bit, and then let's move on to the most crucial part of the recipe, which is the sugar syrup. I'm going to put in 1.5 cups, which is about 330 grams of sugar, 1 cup 250 ml water, and then I'm going to turn on the heat and stir this until the sugar crystals dissolve into the water. The sugar syrup is the foundation for making these laddus, and you need to get the right consistency for the laddus to form and hold their shape. As you can see, the sugar crystals have dissolved into the water. Now I'm going to put in a few strands of saffron and allow this to cook for a few minutes. It's quite magical to watch the bubbles form in the sugar syrup. At first, the sugar syrup turns sticky, and then the single thread consistency begins to form. I'm going to take a little of the syrup and draw a line between my forefinger and thumb like this. As you can see, this is sticky, but it's yet to acquire the single thread consistency. And single thread consistency is what I'm looking for. Let me see if the syrup has reached the single thread consistency. And now that it has reached the consistency that I'm looking for, this syrup is ready to take in the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to turn off the heat and put in some cardamom powder made from the seeds of 7 to 8 cardamom pods, about 20 cashews broken into bits, 20 raisins, and the semolina coconut mixture. I'm going to mix all this up together, making sure that there are no lumps. Now I'm going to cover this up and allow it to rest for about 20 to 30 minutes. Once the mixture is cool enough to handle, you can take small portions of the mixture like this and press them between your palms to form laddus. The exquisite texture of the roasted semolina, the richness of the raisins and cashews, the aromatic saffron and cardamom, all this brought together by the sweetness of the sugar makes this laddu a heavenly delight. These laddus will bring joy and happiness to any festival of celebration.
welcome to Rajshri Food. I'm Ruchi Bharani, and in this episode, I'm going to make an Indian sweet dish called Sheera, which is made out of semolina. In India, Sheera is also served as a holy offering on auspicious occasions. So let's take a look at the ingredients. Half a cup of semolina or rava, 3/4 cup sugar, half teaspoon green cardamom powder, 2 tablespoon clarified butter or ghee, 1 tablespoon raisins, 1 cup milk, 3/4 cup water, few almond flakes and pistachio flakes. First, I'm going to start with boiling water and milk together. 3/4 cup of water, 1 cup milk, and I'm going to bring this to a complete boil. Let it boil for a couple more minutes. I'm going to remove this from the fire and keep it aside. Let's roast the semolina now. 1.5 tablespoons of clarified butter or ghee. The ghee is nice and hot. I'm going to add the semolina. Stir it well and keep roasting it on slow flame. Don't be in a hurry to cook the semolina. Cook it for 5 to 7 minutes on low flame, otherwise it's going to burn. This is the quickest sweet dish I make when I'm craving for something sweet. The color is also changing to a nice golden brown, and also I can smell the nice aroma of the ghee. Keep stirring. I've been roasting the semolina since 7 minutes, and now I'm going to add the milk and water. Make sure the milk and water is absolutely hot. Let this boil till the water dries out completely. Now I'm also going to add in the sugar. Stir it. The sheera has become thick, and now I'm going to add the cardamom powder, some almond flakes and raisins. Stir it well. When the sheera stops sticking to your pan, that means it's ready. And just before removing it from the flame, I'm just going to add half a tablespoon of ghee or clarified butter. If you want to avoid it, you can. The reason I add the ghee towards the end is because the sheera tends to dry out, so the ghee helps it to stay moist. The sheera is ready. Let's plate this. Let's garnish it with a few almond flakes and pistachio flakes. This is a 15-minute recipe which for sure will satiate your sweet tooth. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. I wait all year round for Ganesh Chaturthi as it's my favorite festival. And I try and be a little creative as far as the modaks are concerned. So this year, I'm going to make a very quick and easy modak made out of semolina or suji and stuffed with dry figs. So for that, I'm going to start with soaking 1/4 teaspoon of saffron in 2 tablespoons of milk. Let this soak for 10 to 15 minutes. While this is soaking, I'm going to heat 1.5 tablespoons of ghee in a pan. Into that, I'm going to start roasting 1 cup of semolina or rava. Keep the flame on low and keep roasting this for at least 6 to 7 minutes. About 5 minutes are up and you can see the color slightly changing. Into this, I'm going to add 20 almonds that I've roasted in a microwave for 1 minute and coarsely powdered it. About 15 pistachios coarsely ground. I've not roasted them. Roast all of this for 2 minutes. Into this, I'm going to add 2.5 cups of boiling hot milk. Make sure it's boiling hot. Be very careful while pouring the milk. At this point, I'm also going to add the saffron milk. I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of yellow food color. This is optional, so if you want to add it, you can. And also 1/4 cup of sugar. Make sure you break all the lumps of the semolina. Once the sugar starts to melt, I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of cardamom powder and cook this mixture properly till the mixture dries out. The mixture is nicely thickened, and at this point, I'm going to turn off the flame and let it cool down completely. The semolina mixture is completely cooled down, and now I'm going to start shaping the modaks. Take a small portion of this mixture, and you can see it's further dried out. Into this, about 8 to 10 pieces of anjeer. Cover it up. If you don't have a modak mold, you can always roll it into a nice round ball. But since I have one, I'm going to give it a shape. Press it. Remove all the excess mixture. Even if the anjeer is exposed, it's absolutely fine. Just press it down. And that's it. In this way, finish shaping all your modaks. Ganpati being my favorite and Modak being his, I hope he likes this version as much as I did. So do try this at home, comment below and subscribe to the channel. And to all you viewers, wish you a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi and Ganpati Bappa Morya!
Well, nariyal ke laddu across India could be made in various types. This is one of those instant methods that I have adopted to make the laddus. The first thing that goes in the pan is, of course, desi ghee. Again, coconut could vary. I'm using fresh coconut, which is grated. You could also use dry coconut, which could be desiccated. That goes in the ghee. This needs to be stirred occasionally for around 4 to 5 minutes on medium flame. Since we are using fresh coconut, the shelf life of this laddu could get affected or lowered. If you need to increase that, please use desiccated coconut. To add in some nuts, let me quickly chop some almonds. Again, these could be nuts of your choice. What I prefer to use in this recipe are almonds, cashews and raisins. While chopping or slicing the nuts, also keep a very keen eye on the coconut that is getting roasted. Of course, you do not need to get it a deep brown color or even a golden brown color for that matter. It just needs to dry just a little. To this, let's also add in some cashew nuts. Let's add this straight into the coconut that's getting roasted and give this a light mix. Once the coconut gets cooked for roughly around 2 to 3 minutes, I'll add in grated mawa or khoya. You could also choose to crumble it the way I'm doing. And with this, I'm adding in condensed milk. Well, this is the ingredient that makes it instant or rather quick, because otherwise you need to end up making a sugar syrup or a jaggery syrup, which could be a little technically challenging. Let's give this all a good mix. And once this mixture starts cooking, let's add in strands of saffron for color as well as flavor. You could just lightly crush them in your fingers. Let's add in another flavoring, which is green cardamom. I'm just going to crack this and crush it roughly. Let's discard the green skin or the outer skin. While I personally like the flavor of green cardamom, you could also choose to add in nutmeg. We need to constantly keep stirring this, and this could take anywhere between 7 to 8 minutes. Ensure it doesn't burn or brown at the bottom. The whole idea of mixing and stirring this is so that the mixture kind of clumps together like this and leaves the sides of the pan. Once this happens, we add in final 2 ingredients, beginning with golden raisins or kishmish, and finally all of the ghee. From the quantity mentioned in the description box below or the recipe, I had used half of it earlier. The final and the remaining bit goes in now. We need to transfer this into another bowl or container and allow this to cool down to room temperature. The laddu mixture has cooled down completely. Let's take spoonfuls of this mixture and roll these into laddus. You can of course make these in varying sizes, but what I'm doing is making lemon-sized laddus. With these nariyal ki laddu or coconut laddus, here's wishing all of you a happy, healthy and prosperous lifetime. Do not forget to like and share the video and subscribe to Rajshri.
Modak, it is believed, is the favorite food of Lord Ganesha and therefore a staple during Ganesh Chaturthi. So this festive season, I'm going to treat the Lord to a more modern version of this prasad, that is the chocolate modak. So let's see how to prepare it. I have around 200 grams of chocolate over here that I've chopped roughly, and now I'm going to melt it in the microwave for around 30 to 40 seconds. The chocolate is melted nicely, and now I'm just going to whisk it for a few seconds to get rid of the lumps. And now I'm going to let this chocolate cool down for 5 minutes. Till then, I'm going to make the filling. In a bowl, I'm going to mix all the filling ingredients. I have coarsely ground almond powder, milk powder, a few raisins and very little condensed milk, just enough to bind everything together. Now I'm going to mix everything properly and make like a soft dough. Just bind everything properly. And now I'm going to make small balls out of this dough. Make sure there's at least one raisin in every ball. The size of the ball would be as per the size of your mold, and if you feel that your filling is extremely dry and it's already sweet enough, you can always add a little bit of cream in it. The almond balls are ready, and now for the outer covering, I have this piping bag in which I'm going to fill the tempered chocolate. I have a modak shaped mold over here in which I'm going to shape the chocolates, and it's a matter of few minutes after that and the yummylicious modaks are going to be ready. Snip the piping bag. Fill half the mold with the chocolate. Just tap the mold a little bit. And now I'm going to push down these almond balls. Just fill the remaining mold with chocolate. Just tap it once again to even out everything. Now these need to go in the freezer for 5 to 7 minutes to set. These are out of the freezer and now I'm going to unmold them. Just tap them and they'll come out easily. The season of festivities has finally set in. Drop all your dietary inhibitions and indulge in some real fun. So stay happy, stay healthy and enjoy loads.